Morning, all. Welcome to our weekly town hall. Maybe it's afternoon where you are. Maybe it's warm. Maybe it's still cold. So I wanted to start with a couple of announcements. Our masterclass yesterday was awesome. Lama Surya and Lama Roger were there. And this is the announcement for the next one on Saturday, February 10th. So if you take a look at your chat, everything is in the chat for that. And then, of course, our upcoming residential retreat. We're very excited about going back to Sarah in March. So I hope that you will be able to join us. And this morning we are joined by Brother Pete Sachs, who, if you've not heard his music before, please check him out. He's got some great tunes and he'll be singing for us today. So I will turn it over to Pete and let him take it away.
All right. Well, Menlo, you ruined the surprise. I didn't think if I wanted to back out from playing, I can't now. Thanks. It's great to see you all. Obviously, you have figured it out that I am not Lama Surya Das, nor could I possibly hope to carry the space and the realization that he has into this today. So I am going to try a few tricks to keep you interested by playing a couple of the chants that we do in various forms. And of course, there's a profound reason that we do these chants. For me, when I first started practicing Dzogchen, I remember going to my first retreat with the Dzogchen Center and Lama Surya Das many years ago. I don't know how many that is now, 9 or something, 8, I'm not sure. I remember there being a lot of chanting, and me being a musician and me also having grown up in a sort of Seventh-day Adventist religious household. I remember being a little put off by all of these chants. I had spent a lot of time I don't say getting away, but disregarding some of the aspects of my own religion growing up, and also the sort of, some of the religious songs that came with it, although I always, enjoyed singing them to some degree. Some of them are very terribly boring. But so as we're sitting, in this, I'm thinking I'm going to meditate and become enlightened. And, I had a couple ideas, I guess, of it being kind of, my, Zen being very sort of like subdued and not a lot of sort of activity and really just sitting in the nature of mind and yada, yada. And then we got on retreat, and there were all these chants, and Lama Surya Das is very boisterous, and when everyone's singing, and I was just like, what is going on? And I was not all that psyched. And I remember I asked Lama, I was like, hey, Lama, and back then I raised my hand a lot. Like, well, what's this? And one thing I was like, okay, so we're sitting here and we're like singing to all these, I guess they're like deities or gods or gurus, and I don't know who any of these people are. I have no connection to them, and why is this supposed to be important to me? I think he just kind of laughed a little bit and, sort of did the Lama thing. And I think something was said in there that made me like a little cautious the next time I raise my hand exactly like that, which was good, as Lama can do, as a way of cutting to the core of it. But as time has gone on, interestingly enough, as things often are, the thing that we resist the most a lot of times is the thing we need. Or sometimes the resistance we have around there tells us a lot about where we are on our journey. And so these years later, I've learned to really, really love the chants and really love that aspect of practice and the devotional aspect of practice, which was something I had quite a bit of issue with at the beginning of this sort of devotion and who we were to be devoted to and things like that. But of course, what we learn in the non-dual practices and, Dzogchen and Mahamudra and pretty much in Vajrayana as a whole, these chants that we do, whether it's chants to the three jewels or to different gurus of different types or meditation deities or whatever, we always realize that we are simply chanting and paying homage and devotion to an aspect of our own Buddha nature, our own being, right? So these aren't external gods in the way that, say, I grew up singing to, where the idea is to develop devotion for an external God that has been there forever and will never pass, never was born, and subjugate, essentially, right, ourselves at our deepest being, right, to subjugate to a being outside of ourselves. And in our path, in the Buddhist path in general, we know that to not be true, right? There is nothing outside of ourselves in actuality, right? That part of our understanding of this duality and this dualistic way of looking at the world is an illusion, right? Now, how that illusion works and how we relate to it, like there's a lot that happens within our practice on that. It's very easy to say that that's an illusion, right? But how do we realize that fact? Well, of course, we realize that fact of it being an illusion, not through conceptual ideas or proliferations about how that could be or theories on how that could be, but through direct realization, right? And that's why we practice. And that's why in Dzogchen, it is about direct realization in the end, right? It's about practice, right? And about sitting in our true nature, right, beyond concept, right? So it's about directly realizing what we're talking about. And so the chanting and some of that, just it prepares our mind for that practice, right? It prepares us to sort of look at ourselves a bit differently, right? In many of the guru yoga practices, as many of you know, we often generate one with or we can generate this idea of a meditation deity or a guru with our imaginations. And then as we build it up, we then dissolve that visualization and absorb it into ourselves and become that deity ourselves, right? So as we go through some of these, just kind of keep these in mind. And I remember sitting with Lama Trinley, who teaches with Mingyur Rinpoche, and he was talking about devotion. And in the Mahamudra, they talk quite a bit about devotion as well, and how important devotion is. Which again brings me back to, sort of the sore point that sort of the beginning of my Buddhist journey was like, I wasn't sure about this whole devotion aspect. And what he was saying is that it's impossible to witness, right, and to directly realize the nature of our own mind without devotion to the lineage, to the guru, right? And again, it's getting out of our own way of thinking about ourselves, right? So that devotion to say Dzogchen, to the Mahamudra, to our guru, is that devotion to our innermost true basic nature, right? So without that devotion to that aspect of ourselves and of all beings and of our own teacher, of the lineage of ourselves, we can't have direct realization of our true nature of mind. So devotion is very important. And it's a wonderful thing, and I've just found it. The more devoted I can be to the practice, to the lineages, to those who have taught us and have brought it to us, the more deep my practice gets, the deeper I can get. So, with that, we will do some refuge and bodhicitta. We'll do a couple different refuges. So we can kind of talk about what I can sort of guide a little bit on what that concept I was just saying here, right? So we'll start with refuge and bodhicitta. And we'll do it once in Tibetan, and then I'll do a little, some English rendition of it. Sangye chodon choki chognam la. Jan chu pardu dakni kyab su chi. Daki jin sogi pe sonam ki. Ju la pen chi sangye ju pa sho. I almost forgot. How could I? No Buddha without the gong. And so hopefully you can catch on a little bit, sing. I invite you to sing along if you can, or just let it wash over you, or sort of contemplate. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I go to refuge in the fully enlightened by the power of all six perfections, from generosity to non-dual wisdom, for the sake of all sentient beings. May we realize Buddhahood. And in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go to refuge under fully enlightened by the power of all six perfections, from generosity to non-dual wisdom, for the benefit of all sentient beings. May we realize Buddhahood. And one more for good luck. And in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, Supreme Spiritual Community, we go to refuge under fully enlightened by the power of all six perfections, from generosity to non-dual wisdom, for the benefit of all sentient beings. May we realize So traditionally we do it 3 times. And just a little bit about this. So this has aspects of all the different aspects of taking refuge, but we sort of typically talk about refuge as an inner refuge, an outer refuge, an inner refuge, and a secret refuge. A lot of things in our lineage is broken up like that. So in the outer aspect, right, we're paying homage to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. So that's the original Buddha, right, from 2,500 years ago, the Dharma, the teachings, and the Sangha, right, the supreme spiritual community of practitioners. So that could be, from an outer standpoint, that could be all the spiritual practitioners who supported the Buddha at that time, and the Dharma, and those who sort of transmitted the teachings. And we go for refuge until fully enlightened, right? So as we are on this journey towards enlightenment, we go for refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And then from a aspect of the 6 perfections, right? Sort of, there's an outer and an inner and a secret aspect to all of these, but just the perfections of generosity, ethics, patience, joyful effort, meditation, and wisdom are the 6 perfections, could say, of conduct, of thinking, right? There's many ways to think about these, and these go very deep, right? Pretty much you'll find often that in these teachings, the whole of the path is sort of holographically embedded in like 6 lines, and like everything is like the whole thing. I find that very often. So we could pick this apart, and it's there. There's commentaries, I'm sure, that are 500 pages long that will explain exactly how all this relates to every single aspect of being. And then this piece, for the sake of all beings, may we realize Buddhahood, right? And this often we call this bodhicitta, and when we practice on this path, it's not just for our own sake, it's not just for our own well-being, right? We take it with the idea of helping all beings realize this Buddhahood, right? So this is, when we sing this, it really is a profound sort of vow and a profound orientation to our lives. This idea of taking refuge until fully enlightened, and perfecting all the aspects of the enlightened mind within ourselves, sort of step by step, piece by piece, for the sake of all sentient beings, not just ourselves. So we'll go to the next refuge piece here, which is called, I'm not sure if it's in there, but we have it in our old book here. I'll just put it up real quick. It's a pretty simple. I don't know. Can you read that? Or is that backwards? Is it backwards? It's the correct direction. Okay. Left, right, up and down. It's all the same in the great infinite, right? It doesn't really matter. Backwards is a matter of perspective. But it says, I and all beings are primordially Buddha. Knowing this to be essentially true, I give rise to the awakened mind of supreme enlightenment. And this is also a refuge, an innermost refuge. So going to refuge essentially in our own mind and in reality as it is. Right. So I and all beings are primordially Buddha. Right? Buddha by nature already, taking refuge in that, faith in that aspect of reality, the truth of the matter. Right? So knowing this to be essentially true, I give rise to the awakened mind of supreme enlightenment. So we'll sing this a little bit. And there's a little bit that I added in the middle. You'll probably figure out which there it is. I know beings are primordial Buddha, knowing this is essentially true. I give rise to the awakened mind of supreme enlightenment. I know beings are primordially Buddha, knowing this is essentially true. I give rise to the awakened invite you to just contemplate that for a moment. I and all beings are primordially Buddha. So that means, yes, the person you think is an asshole is primordially Buddha. Yes, yourself, even me, in all my aspects and negative aspects that I can easily see in any moment, primordially Buddha. So what are we doing? What is all this perfecting the path and all this striving and all this running around and trying to do something? What is it? Can that all be dropped? From the perspective of the natural great perfection, Dzogchen, this is in fact literally true. It's not just nice words like, oh yeah, everyone's cool, you know, like everyone's got this divine spark, like it's no. Primordially Buddha. And as Lama Suryadas would say, this is true. It's only temporary obscurations, ideas, kleshas, concepts that obscure that fact. Temporary. I know beings are primordially Buddha, knowing this is essentially true. I give rise to the waking mind, the supreme enlightenment. I know beings are primordially Buddha, knowing this is essentially true. I give rise to the waking mind, supreme enlightenment. True. I give rise to the waking mind, supreme enlightenment. And with this knowledge then, not like, oh yeah, everything's fine, it's all good, it is what it is, but like, no, it is fine. It actually is fine. Everything is exactly as it is, as it's meant to be, as it should be, lawfully unfolding. It's alright, everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine, it's alright, everything's mine, everything's mine, everything's mine, yeah, it's alright, everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine. So when we sit, as we're going to do here for a little bit, where is this space that we talk of, perhaps as a contemplation or a pointer, where all is fine? If it's now in the present moment, we're all primordially Buddha in our own mind, this very mind, Buddha mind. How is that? How? Where? So just arriving from wherever it is you think that you were into the present moment, as opposed to where you think you may have been, where you always are, in the now, present moment, awareness. Find a loosely straight spine if you can. The eyes open or closed, depending on your comfort. And we're just sitting. Just aware of our body in space. Aware of the sense of mass. So not manipulating, trying to do any specific posture per se, but just aware. Perhaps all the parts of the body, sensations within it. So just sitting. I often talk of the three naturals: natural body, just sitting, aware, as we're just sitting. Second instruction is just breathing, natural breath and energy. Just aware, process of breathing. Not manipulating the breath, not counting the breath. Just aware. Natural breath. Just sitting, natural body. You think of the body as just a mountain, it's unperturbed, it's massive, connected to the ground. Mountain doesn't sit up tall because it wants to sit up tall. It's just tall. It's just there. Like our body, always there, the present moment. Just breathing, natural breath and energy, breathing like the ocean's waves. Allow it to come and go based on the causes and conditions present within our body, our minds. As Lama would say, the ocean doesn't wave because it's bored. When there's wind, there's waves. And the third point of our meditation, just being, just aware of any concepts, thoughts, perceptions in our mind, heart-mind continuum. So again, not manipulating thoughts, not pushing them away, not looking for specific ones, not laser focused, not laser focused, just aware of any thoughts and emotions, images, concepts within the mind. So we find ourselves getting lost. A useful practice for me is to just start at the beginning again, just sitting, go back to being aware of the body, and just breathing, aware of the breath, and just being aware of the contents of our mind. Lama also says undoing the habit of overdoing. We often call this non-meditation, not meditating, not meditating, just undistracted, aware of all the phenomena, noumena, the mind-body continuum. Now this awareness is the true, unfabricated Buddha within. So awareness itself is curative, oftentimes we have a sense that we look to know something, to be aware of something in order to do something about it. There's nothing to do about it, just aware, just awareness itself. Perhaps that's all that's actually necessary to realize our true nature. beyond doing and not doing. As Lao Tzu says, the great Tao, or said, the great Tao is accomplished. Beyond doing and not doing. So again, in case you forgot what we're not doing, we're just sitting, natural body, we're just breathing, natural breath and energy, we're just being, just aware of all phenomena. We hear a lot about letting go, but there's no letting go without letting come. So letting come and go, all experience, letting come and go as it is. And just looking at the mind for a moment. All this experience, all this movement and sensation within the body, all these perceptions, all the phenomena happening right now in our minds. Might just look into our mind and ask who or what is experiencing my experience. Where is the experiencer? Where is the boundary between your experience of phenomena in the outside world and the experiencer? Where it is experienced? So where's the thinker, the looker, the experiencer? Migi Rinpoche often says, look for the and then just drop it. Just be aware of the body, breath, mind. So did everybody found them? Found them in there? Raise your hand if you found the eye you were looking for. So somebody found. That's good. How big? How big are they? Color are they? Size? Are they in the middle of the head? Are they in the chest? Where is this experiencer? Where is this you that you always think about? It's the old Zen saying, I believe it's a Zen saying. If you find the Buddha on the road, kill him. Don't literally kill anybody. Pretty sure that's against the precepts. From what I'm told, Buddhists frown upon going around wantonly killing people. In fact, we do quite the opposite. So we're going to do a little bit of now. We've gone over several things today. Done quite a bit around refuge, right? Bodhicitta, wisdom of pure awareness. So the aspect of sitting with awareness is the aspect of bringing wisdom. And then, of course, love and compassion, which we hear so much about, which is, again, the aspect of our true nature, right? This Buddha nature that we speak of often is said to have innate wisdom, love and compassion, awareness. So these are the three aspects of our true nature that we often don't recognize, and that's the true nature of all experience, all beings. So by orientating ourselves to others and cultivating compassion, we're actually cultivating the mind of the Buddha so that we can recognize that in ourselves and in all beings. And then that recognition is the freedom from suffering. Something like that. That's the Cliff Notes. There's more to it, probably in your own experience to do other than that, but you can start there. So we could bring up, if you want, you could also just, many of you know Om Mani Padme Hum. So this is the mantra of compassion. Literally means the jewel of the lotus. But it's about love and compassion for ourselves and all beings. The mood of compassion, Chenrezig in Tibetan. Om Mani Padme Hum Ri. 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 beings be safe and happy and healthy. May they be free from harm, suffering, warfare. Oh, Mani Padme Huri. 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 So compassion and love is so important in this world. We could always say it more than ever, but always and forever, love, compassion for all beings, to love all sentient beings as ourselves, to love ourselves as all sentient beings. Oh, Mani Padme Huri. 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 We bring up Lama Surya Das's New Millennium Prayer, which sums up the path in so many ways. I guess we'll leave a couple of minutes in case there's a question or two that I could pretend to try and answer, or you could just hold that until someone qualified, like Lama Surya Das, is here to answer it in some kind of way that cuts to the core of what you're actually asking. But may all beings everywhere with whom we are inseparably interconnected and who want and need the same as we do, may they be awakened, liberated, healed, fulfilled, safe, and free. May there be peace and harmony in this world and an end to war and violence, poverty and hunger, inequality and oppression, greed and cruelty, pandemics, famine, droughts, earthquakes, all kinds of natural disasters. May all be free from fear, harm, danger, anxiety, and insecurity. May we all together complete the spiritual journey, one beloved community, one circle, one family, all the way home. And I bow to the Buddha in your seat. All right, well, thank you, everybody. I don't know if there's time for questions that were Menla, or do you have some things you want to say to close us out?
Always have things I want to say. No questions. Well, hold on. Let me see what we got here in the chat. Nope, just a lot of thank yous to you, Pete. That was great. Your music is great. You can check out Brother Pete on YouTube. And if you come on retreat with us in March, you might hear him again then. So thank you so much.
You, finally. I want to hear you. It's been a long time. I'd like to hear you sing. I'll print everything out and we can sing together.
That's right. That's right. It's great being in person when we can all chant together. So thank you everyone for being here today. Check out the chat. It's got all the sites that you can check out for our registrations, and please donate to the foundation. That's what keeps us going. So we're coming up on 4 years of this and still going to keep going. So thank you for being here today. Thank you, Pete, and see you soon. Take care, everyone.